Okay, dudes. Sorry that this took so long. But these are the words from your final class. Okay. Let's have it. Hit us. Do it. Do it to it. Okay. Again, do it to it can kind of be like fighting in a way. Remember, go into is also to describe something. I'm going to go into that a little bit, or explain. For our test, for our quote-unquote test, we had, we were kind of describing stories, or what happened. This was a while back. This is a few decades ago. We touched about this. We talked about this a little bit, or in a picture or two. Right? The aircraft just took off without any trouble, without any issues. Suddenly, all of a sudden, without warning, there weren't really any warning signs. We use this too. She was blown out of the aircraft. Oops. This girl was just sucked right out of the aircraft. Oh, this is the Hawaii case. And they couldn't put the landing gear down. You could also in here put they couldn't get the landing gear down. Get would be like they're trying more. All right. He was reluctant. He was very hesitant. He didn't really want to do momomo. All right. They checked to see if the gear was down. They confirmed that the gear was down. Right? Again, helped is a stronger verb. Help me! But they helped out the crew by letting them know or telling them that their gear was down. This is the tower, I think, looked at the gear, right? Can you help me here? Can you help me out here? Remember, this one's a little bit less formal. Right? This one was about Air France 447. I did a little searching. I did a little digging last night. I looked into it. I looked up some more information. You could also say that, right? Looked up some more information. There's always more of the story. Again, I'd like to get into this. I'd like to talk about this a little bit. They switched off the autopilot. They kicked off the autopilot. They kicked it out of autopilot. They shut off the autopilot. Remember, again, this is very informal, and it's in the Air France 447 video, the extended video. Possible, doable. The weather was bad, but manageable. They were able to manage the weather, even though it was bad. Doable is very informal. Be careful. Do not use it with people, or you will be in big trouble. Right? They climbed all the way up to 38,000 feet. They got all the way up to 38,000 feet. They peaked at 38,000 feet. We can't really explain why he did that, why the first officer, Bonan, why he was pulling back on the stick. Nobody can really get into this, get into his mind and understand why he did that. Anyway, they lost altitude, they dropped like a stone, and that was the worst accident in French aviation history. This was Johan to the rescue. Help us. Cover for me, fill in the gaps, lend a helping hand. Again, cover for me, like I have to go to the bathroom, so I say to somebody, hey, can you teach the class, cover for me? Fill in the gaps. Everybody has gaps in their knowledge, and hearing a story again, you kind of fill in the gaps that may exist in your own mind. Can you help me out here? Can you lend me a helping hand? We have make up a rule and also come up with a rule, okay? So they came up with a new rule. Come up with it would be more informal. Makes like, make that rule. The interesting thing here, the thing that stands out for me, what really sticks out, right? If his religion is Islam or were Islam, if he were a Muslim. Anybody remember that Egypt Air crash years ago? Again, with the and a proper name, it doesn't usually go together. The Busan, but as an adjective it does. The Busan World Cup Stadium. Busan, right? Just a name. Now, Donald Trump will call himself the Donald, but it's kind of a dumb nickname. No, it's just a nickname. You could be like, you're the Adam, or the Johan. There are no others. How did the pilots receive that information? How did the information go over? What was the response? There are lots of issues occurring there, or popping up. Remember, again, the Canadian occurring, I think Chris says in the video. Occur, I think he says. We just want to get through the flight and be done with it, We just want to show up and do our job and go home. That's what pilots do. This guy was in a hurry. Oh no, this was I think Johan's story. He was seriously drowsy, nodding off, getting tired, sleepy. I was fighting it. I was struggling to stay awake. This accident is a well-known accident, pretty much all over the world. Most people know that KLM crash. It's well known. It's pretty much all over the world. Everybody knows it. They got hit with some pretty heavy weather. They ran into some bad weather. There are many causes for the accident, but the major contributor was Momomo. The trouble really began, the thing that really started it, they really started getting in trouble when they showed up late. But by that time, it was too late, you know. Only Momomo people survived, only 15 people, only 20 people survived the accident. In the transcripts, you can hear the captain saying, let's press on. That's in American Airlines 965. The power distance was a lot greater at that time. This is the Guam crash. Anyway, we got hit by this big storm. It was a remarkable storm. You might be impressed by it. Gigantic, you could say too. We had to make a decision. You know, are we going to make the approach, or are we going to do a go around? Anyway, I was having second thoughts. I had second thoughts. I had reservations about the weather. I had some real personal reservations about the weather. The weather wasn't looking good, so I was having some doubts, some second thoughts. I was having misgivings. I was getting cold feet. We ended up getting even farther south than we had expected. We were flying, and we didn't want to go that far south, but we ended up getting even farther south than we expected. As they climbed, they kept losing cabin pressure, or the cabin pressure kept decreasing. But he ignored that, he sidestepped it. Sidestep is also used for an argument, right? It's best described as momomo. The best way to describe this accident is blah blah blah. The best way to think of it is momomo. You have to really pay attention as a pilot. You have to really clue in, or clue into. You can say both, right? Clue in or clue into. You got to be on your toes. You got to pay attention. You got to keep your eyes peeled. All these mean jipjung hada. Your vision starts to lag behind. Oh, this is the hypoxia thing. So we were flying, and we started to feel the effects of hypoxia. Our vision started to kind of lag behind. Your vision gets a little loopy, but this would be very informal. You're like 2 or 3 seconds behind, right? Oh, we also had these words in our class. Jalopy is an old junkie car. It's also in that Shia LaBeouf movie about the Great Depression. Clunker is an old junkie car. Remember, Obama had a program, Cash for Clunkers. Cash for Clunkers, remember that? We were having some problems with closing the vents, right? The heating vent. This aircraft, it wasn't really airworthy. It was an old, rickety aircraft. I would like to add a thing or two. I think I could add a few things to that, if I may. If I could, I could add a few things to that. Remember, freeze, like the police. Freeze! Oh, man, my car is frozen. Freeze up. Freeze over the top. They lost their speed readings, right? Oh, the pitot tubes. The pitot tubes froze. The pitot tubes froze up. The pitot tubes froze over. Right? I told him that he didn't really have to attend the workshop, but he was adamant, absolutely wanted to. He insisted on going. The passengers were feeling like something. The passengers were feeling very nervous, right, or upset. We had antsy. The structure was getting a lot of stress. There was a lot of stress fractures. Egg on his face. You make a mistake, and everybody looks at you. I made a mistake with effect and affect, and I felt embarrassed. I had egg on my face. They couldn't figure out how to recover. Oh, egg on your face is about a 3 or 4. We don't use it that much. Very informal, though. They couldn't figure out how to recover the aircraft. The captain finally picked up picked up on what was going on. He finally clued in. You could say that too. Clued in. All right? Clued into what was going on. To what was going on. All the passengers died because of blunt force trauma. All these mean like. I'm into it. Big on. Keen on. All about. Do you like football? Yeah, I'm really into football. I'm big on football. I'm keen on football. This one more formal or interested or you know a lot about it. I'm not really keen on skiing. I don't know much about it. All about it's very informal. This was all about human error. That was the reason. That's the main thing. And this one is the main factor, the main cause. So they had this warning light, or this alarm was going off, and then Momomo happened. As they ascended through flight level 340, or they got above whatever, they started to get above blah blah blah. Anyway, the aircraft ended up slamming into the mountain. The aircraft was slammed into the mountain by force. Was slammed, somebody did it, some force, but this has just happened. The aircraft slammed into the mountain. I was happy, you know, everything looked great, the world looked wonderful, it was a whole new world. After I finished the OE, it was a whole new world. Everything looks great. Rose-colored glasses, you know, you put the pink glasses on, everything looks pink. I hope that this happens after I retire, well after I'm long gone. But the aviation industry, it's going to grow, right? Remember, grow up is for people. Industries grow, right? That industry isn't growing. It's dying. Some of the pronunciations, cover, the ball, really hard. Ground, some of the GR sounds are pretty strong there. Qui. Tall, turbulence, these came up. Sometimes vowels too for hour, right? Okay, that's all.